It's us. We're
Yeah,
here. We're screaming.
still
We're
alive,
excited about it.
rocking and a rolling.
Pretty nice.
We're playing the Titanic violin over here.
Mhm.
Just kidding. It's not quite that bad, but it
Close.
sure feels like this is a potential program low for this coach. Maybe. I mean, that's arguable. You said that off air, but I think it's a lot of people would nod their head to that. Um, ugly one, ugly, and lots of. I, I'm not hopeless, but I have a lot. There's a lot of question marks that I have hope. I don't have answers for, so I am
Mm.
hopeless to answer certain questions that can't be. I don't think can be answered. Again, this is going to sound like we're like 4-28 or something. We're not that. Um, but you meet a certain caliber team. Pat Kelsey meets a certain caliber team, and terrible, terrible things happen. Lots of things go wrong, um, and
Oh yeah.
then rinse and repeat. So we can get into all that fun stuff. Um, and if we're on YouTube, I think normally we are. We'd
Hmm.
love to hear from people in the comments and takes and whatnot. I won't be able to see him personally, but I think Presley might be able to. No, he's
Yeah,
multitasking
we can go
already.
through them and yeah, we got some people joining on YouTube for whatever reason. Uh, Twitter is not working, so
That's okay.
love that for us, Alan. Jacob, if you're listening in, you want to come in and figure out how we can get this in front of the Twitter sphere.
hmm
Uh, what normally happens for whatever reason, it kicks me out of the Twitter part. I don't know why. Um,
Mm-mm.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Tell me about. Let's start off with something light. Tell me about your NTI day today, Alan. Did you get out of your driveway?
I did. I had to. I got the call. I got the call yesterday from my superior, and just was basically like, get out when you can, however you can. There are people that won't be able to. Like, there's some people that I work with, and I won't reveal like the details of what I do or anything. Some people know. If you do, congrats. But
Mm-hmm.
there are some people that I work with that are, and you're gonna roll your eyes when you hear this because like they're like country boys and girls, and country boy and country and two or three country girls, that live
Mm-hmm.
out in the cut, and you're like, well, why don't they have the four wheel? All this, because like that's the like, oh, where is their big diesel truck? But the fact of the matter is, some of these people just drive regular cars and they live out in the middle of nowhere because they want to, and they were stuck. So the boss was kind of making his rounds like, we want to try to make this a Monday through Friday if we can. We don't want to do it Tuesday through Saturday. So I was on a super delay today. So it was actually nice because normally my Monday is deadlines all day. I have deadlines, so I have to get in, be as personable as possible, and shut up and get my work done at the same time. And so, like, you're getting approached all the time. So it's like you have to kind of cut off certain conversations because you have deadlines, but no deadlines today. So that was good. But yeah, I woke up and shoveled the driveway, sweating. I was sweating outside in negative-degree weather. That was fun, but I was like bundled up. Um, but it was backbreaking, man. I even laid down salt and everything 2 days ago. It was still backbreaking work. But yeah, no complaints. Got out. We can get out tomorrow. So yeah. What about you? Did you guys? I know you moved. So how was this?
Yeah, out here in the OC, I was a
Yeah.
you know typical dad and went out and measured like every couple hours. Like, we could tell the kids, "Oh, we got 4 inches." Ah,
Mm-hmm.
not said very much in my household. Hey, all right. Anyways, went out and checked the yard a few times throughout the day. The kids would go out and be out for 3 minutes and then come back in and track all the water in. But no, we
Yeah.
made it out to work today. We were good. Now I do have a question for you though. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you're more qualified than I. Like you're a couple of years my senior, so
Oh.
maybe you can answer this for me. Uh, I
Mm-hmm.
know a lot of dad stuff. If I have 4-wheel drive and I can get in and out of my driveway perfectly fine. Do I
Yeah.
need to shovel my driveway?
Ooh, you have four-wheel. So when you leave, does that leave anybody else at the house that doesn't have four-wheel drive?
No, no. I mean,
Okay.
everybody. If
So
anybody
when
could
you
get
leave,
out, they
everybody.
could get out. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Then
Does
know.
it? I don't know. I mean, tell me in the comments, people. Go ahead, roast me. I don't care about my snow knowledge. All I know about snow is that I don't want to go in it.
Right.
Dude.
See, I don't have four-wheel. I just got 4 new tires Friday though, because I have to tell you about this real quick. This happened to me Wednesday, and I'll be really quick. My coworkers know about this. I got out Wednesday, or maybe it was Tuesday. It was when that first little snow, like where it was like we weren't really expecting to get anything, but we got something. Anyway, it was Gene Snyder was really backed up which way I was going that day. So I took the back roads to get to the place I was trying to go to. I ended up, I'm just going to fast forward. I ended up trying to go up this hill because maps took me this way,
Sure.
up like a hill like this. So like it wasn't like a steep hill, but like I'm like, I can get up this. And I didn't have 4-wheel drive and I needed new tires. Didn't know that at the time. I ended up getting halfway up and my car wouldn't go anymore. So I'm like, I'm going to turn around. When I went to turn around, I turned sideways and I was sliding down the hill sideways on a sheet of ice. And it's like those, those videos that you see on like social media where people slide into other people and stuff.
Sure.
This
Tires
was
just not even rotating at all. Just
yeah, it was sideways. This was that at about 1 mile an hour. And it wasn't in the city. It was like in the, not in the country, but like on a back road sort of. So like there's an embankment of
burbs. You're in the
trees
burbs.
and stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I could slide off the road. So last minute, my tire hits this little divot or a stick or something that was in the road and like corrected itself. And then I just eased back down. I went back to the Gene Snyder and just sat in traffic. I was like, I'm never doing that again. I was terrified. I mean, like it was about as near death. I say near death. I thought there's a potential that I could go to the hospital or die that day for like 10 seconds. I was like, this could be terrible. So I ended up getting new tires, but even I, with the new tires, 4 new tires, brand new, decided to shovel the driveway because not chancing it, and I don't want to be the guy that gets stuck in his own driveway. You seem to be fine though. If you got 4-wheel, it should be good.
We're good. Most cars, I have 4 wheels, but mine has this thing called 4-wheel drive, so
yes.
I get to drive using all of them.
Yes.
So we went to work. It was a normal day for me today, but the kids,
okay.
I got to come home and do a little homework tonight. So
okay.
now I know how to do the way they do math now, which is not very fun.
Right.
Alan, let's get into this thing, man. It's time to talk some basketball. That's what we're all here for. We've got a nice little crowd gathering. If you are able to drop a comment, we'll read them here live on air as long as they're children appropriate or appropriate for those who are able to be awake at this time of night. But
I understand if they're not. Also, I understand if it's just vulgarity and depravity. I get it. So
yeah, I mean, my wife was Clockwork Oranging it already at like 8:30. So I'm sure there's some folks out there that are falling asleep. But
I appreciate that reference.
Thank you.
I appreciate that reference from you.
Appreciate that. Let's see how many scary movies we can get in here tonight, because it was scary out there on the court down in Durham, North Carolina tonight. Louisville falls 83-52. We said it coming in, maybe the worst performance of the PK era. Not good. It was not good, Alan. Louisville had a lead late in the first half and lost by 31. So, I mean, just I think a bit of an indictment on the coaching staff, but of everybody involved in this debacle this evening. State of Louisville Live, Press Meyer, Alan Thomas. Thanks for joining us. No feelings or bad feelings right now, right? I do see Terry Jones just came in and asked, was that you I saw off Smyrna whose card was sliding off the hill? Was it that bad you're sliding off the hill off Smyrna?
It was not Smyrna. It was off of Old Preston on Tuesday. Okay. This is on a back road that nobody else was behind me until until a few seconds later, somebody I think peeked their head around. They were because it was like you came off a regular road and onto an icy road. So it was like the name of this road is like Zoneton or something like that, like Zonetown or Zoneton. Anybody in the Beulah Church area, Zoneton, something like that.
In the Beulah Church zone.
Yeah, and that's where I was.
That wasn't him, Terry. That was another lunatic that was out there on the roads. Yeah, with apparently bald tires, from what we're told. Alan Thomas riding around in the snow on bald tires.
Right. Okay. So the guy at Discount Tires was like, man, I gotta replace this for you, man. Like he was just I feel like such a little kid in this situation, you know. Like he was like little boy in me. He's like, I mean, look at this thing. Now, if you've ever been to Discount Tires, if you go in the lobby and talk to them, like they have the music low, you can hear people breathing. Like it's very quiet for the most part. You hear the computer like, you know, like so. Then I go in after, and he's like, he makes a scene. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, I can't let you drive around on those. I mean, he's like, I mean, let's be honest. I'm like,
You just
I
got
mean, like,
pressured into an $800.
yeah,
I mean, you know what? You
it
got
was
home
about.
safe, and now you're here talking to the people.
I'm here, and I was, you know, safe enough to be able to. I was lucky enough to be able to watch this game tonight. So lucky. So I'm so
Just
glad I was able to do that.
resetting very quickly. Press Meyer, Alan Thomas. State of Louisville
Hey,
Live, presented by Main Event. We were supposed to be at Main Event tonight, but the
we
Main Event is
were.
now in our homes
Mm-hmm.
because if you today is one of those days that if you need to get to work or you you know are an essential worker or live close by or something, maybe you can get out to work or take the kids to school, but otherwise, stay inside. Nobody needs to be
Sure.
nobody needs to be out there. So the Main Event will be happening very soon, though. Great partners
Yeah.
of ours. If you haven't been to Main Event over off of Blankenbaker in the J Town, I guess it's like a J Town, Middletown area. You know, right over by
Yeah.
Papa J's headquarters, pretty close by. Um,
Yeah.
Regardless, Alan, great spot. I'm sure most, if not all,
It
listening have
is.
been to Main Event. Bowling, laser tag, great elevated food menu, over 100 arcade games. Need I say more? And they
Yeah.
are coming out with a bunch of drink specials as well. We got a chance to try their some of their holiday drinks the last time we were in there, Alan, and I got
Okay.
made fun of for some of the decor on top of my beverage, and I did not care.
What was the decor?
There was oh yeah, I was floating with half a watermelon in my glass. But we took it like a champ, and it
Oh,
was delicious.
there you
It
go.
was
Yeah. That's
delicious,
all that
and I
matters.
got that second drink. Shout out Pam Beasley. Louisville falls tonight,
Okay.
83-52 at Duke after with what 2 minutes, just over 2 minutes left in the first half. Louisville trailed 29-28, and then within the first 2 minutes of the second half, they had just imploded. Duke went up 16, and then they were up 19. They were up 22. Then they were up 20. Like it just,
Yeah.
we couldn't hit a shot. They were making everything. Duke made everything they did in the second half look easy, just like they did in the KFC Yum Center a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just a tragic state of affairs. Just initial thoughts. Just just let it fly, Alan. What you got?
Sure. I mean, like you mentioned a second ago, we had the lead 25-24 with about 4.5 minutes ago. I think it was at the 4.5 minute mark. Had the lead on that Ryan Conwell three, and it was one of those that like he was jawing with our bench, like yeah, you know, like it was like such a high moment, and it felt such a like a all right, now what? You know, like you're like, okay, where do we go from here? Because we had worked so hard to get that 1 point lead. Now, mind you, they had a good, nice little run getting back to that point. I thought we played pretty good defense in that stretch. You know, good enough. But Duke was also cooling off in that moment, and they were never going to stay cool. But this is what the third. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know the last game that we played Duke, they beat us by like 20 something in the second half. It was brutal, like beat the shit out of us in the second half, just
Yeah.
like today. Today we lose by 21 in the second half. When I see those numbers next to me, 81-52, I'll do that math here in a second. But I mean, you're talking about, so let's see, 44-23 in the second half. I mean,
Mhm.
beat downs. I want to say the game last year, not the championship, the ACC championship, but I want to say the other one was something like that too, where just second half, and you can say like, you know, I talked with Jacob one time about this, but tomorrow there will be a take on, or right now, like I'm doing it right now, on podcasts, on the radio, on ESPN, whatever. They're going to say, oh well, John Shire, you know, he made that second half adjustment. What does that mean? Like I think I hate that cliche. Oh, he's not making an adjustment. What did he adjust? You know, like Duke wasn't doing anything much differently, just more physical, more deliberate. Who's the white guy that just kind of went off in the second half? You know, got guys feeling themselves. They just play a really efficient, confident style of basketball. I'll be honest. When John Shower got hired, I'm like, oh, I saw blood in the water. I'm like, this dude, because I thought at the time, I'm like, they skipped over Nolan Smith. Big mistake, buddy. And now it's like he could be as good or better. I'm not going to say or better right now, but in the long run of Coach K, because this guy hits you exactly where you're weak. Like he will pack in when he feels like they want to get to the basket. He'll just pack everybody in there. When he feels like somebody's getting high, they'll push you out high. It's in between the first half and the second half. Like I said, the adjustment that he made was he just got in his guys' ears, what I think, or their faces, and say, "You just need to be a little bit more physical. I want to see more effort on the little things." Like it really was not anything miraculous or crazy. But yeah, that's that's such a familiar song. Every time we play Duke with Pat Kelsey. So you said let it fly. So my take will be I see glaring issues that a lot of other people have seen, and I've seen this on social media and stuff like that. And I can get into the specifics here in a little bit throughout the show, actually. But I see a lot of glaring issues that I don't think with this roster are fixable. And I don't think a Kenai Roots would have fixed it. I don't think a Kason Pryor, some minutes from him would have fixed it. I thought Zugris did the best he could. I thought he had some pretty good minutes for what it was. We needed somebody in there. Even he was not physically matched for for Boozer. But just overall, our style of play, our offense, in general, it's too, all or nothing to me. And it's like, that's so basic to say, but like, there are glaring issues throughout the offense. If you're going to shoot a ton of threes, you have to have guys that are going to crash the glass. If we don't have guys that can efficiently crash the glass consistently.
Yeah. I mean, you were absolutely hit the nail on the head, right, when you said same old song, like early 2000s Ricky Martin on a South Florida radio station. That shit was pumping out, and that's Louisville basketball right now, man. Same old song and dance. You play somebody that is of your caliber or has a little bit more size, and you shrink up into a corn cob and rock yourself to sleep in the corner. I mean, that's look. There's nothing. Obviously, you don't want to say a bunch of disparaging things about the players, coaching staff, any of that, and we refrain from that here. But we also tell it how it is, Alan. And look, it's no longer just a talking point. It is the defining aspect of the Pat Kelsey era right now. Is that when he plays teams that have equal or better talent than him, he is going to get outcoached and outplayed every time. Every single time, Alan. I mean, you have to go back to some play in the Bahamas against a mid-ass Indiana team, West Virginia and Cincinnati, right? Is that who we played last year in the Baja Mar Hoops Classic or whatever it was?
Yeah, and in Oklahoma, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like at that time, we thought those were solid wins, and obviously UK is turning around a little bit, and that's going to end up being probably your best win of the season to this point. And when Louisville has played opponents that are outmatched or don't have as much depth or size or experience, they get to work and cook, Alan, right? I mean, we saw it, whatever it was, 56 hours, 58 hours ago against Virginia Tech. From start to finish, Louisville led the game. They led by double digits. They were better in every single aspect of the game, while Virginia Tech had pretty similar stats, and they absolutely lit it up from deep in the second half as they were trying to stay in it. Louisville just dominated. Like, they were straight up just a better team. And then, you fly up to Duke today. I understand the circumstances are a little bit different. There's zero excuses to lose like this. I was listening to the radio as we're coming home from work today, and the conversation was, I mean, if they keep it respectable, if it's a couple, within a possession or two, Duke's an 8-point favorite. They've won 26 straight at home. They've only lost one game this year, and it was on a crazy comeback by Texas Tech, and they lost by 1 point at the very end. Outside of that, they've dominated everybody else. Like, I understand we had the narrative was already written in stone, right? Duke's going to get a few more whistles. They just have a little bit better talent. You're playing at Duke. Michael's coming off an injury. You don't have Case and Pryor. Whatever else the excuses and the storyline was already baked in. And then you get into the second half, and whatever the hell that was to start the second half, just ridiculous, right? I mean, I saw a tweet as we were jumping on. I believe it was Jeff Goodman or somebody of that ilk that said basically, maybe Jeff Borzella, I can't remember. He said, Louisville with 4 minutes left in the first half, Ryan Conwell hit a three for Louisville to take the lead. And it was like an hour after that, like in real time, and Louisville had still not made a basket. That is, it's really hard to discern what exactly is going on mentally with this team, but this is not what you expect from a roster that you recruited to be very specific fits in the system, and a roster that has so much experience, right? I think that's such a crucial aspect of this as well, right? I mean, if you look across the starting lineup, Ryan Conwell, he's fifth year senior. You have Sananda Frew was a professional player overseas for 3 years. You had Alan's over here swatting a fly or something. You had
swatting a stepson.
Javon Hadley's a fifth year senior, right? Like just as we're kind of getting to the point, right? Across this roster, Jacob and I were sitting down the other day just talking about, well, what's roster construction look like as we're going into next year? Because you're starting to look at this sensational freshman class. You're seeing that there's lots of really, really solid talent out there. So much so that this draft class is going to be so strong that a lot of guys are going to choose to return to school instead of taking that jump into the league, just because you can make more money doing that now, Alan. But when you look at the roster reset next year, there's not a lot there. Like most of the guys on this team that are playing serious minutes outside of Michael Brown are very, very veteran players. And there's just a lot concerning, right? Like you have a very well-paid, I would imagine, and well thought of coming into the season big man who literally at the about 10-minute point of the second half, the coach calls timeout just to go like this and say, "Catch the fucking ball! Catch the ball!" Like I don't know if you saw that. Literally just holding his hands up, like, "Catch the ball." I mean, one of the more embarrassing sequences of the season, but wasn't the most embarrassing of the evening. When Sananda Frew had the ball hit him in both hands two times in a row on a rebound, and then finally it goes back out for a wide open three. That's just the kind of stuff that happened. Javon Hadley had the ball with a 3-on-1 break and got his shit swatted, didn't even get fouled, and ended up getting a bailout call on a fast break. There was so much that happened that it's hard to even keep track of and really give credence to every single stupid thing that happened throughout this game. But I see it a lot in the comments, right? We got, the comments rolling in and to a man, almost everything mentions adjustments. So you are right in the sense, Alan, that, and I think it was Bobby V had some rant about this on his show a while back about, what are halftime adjustments? What exactly do you think is going on in there? It's like, know, the guy with the viral TikToks where he's like, "What do you think's in the back, lady? It's just some cookies that Darcy brought in. Like it's not, there's not some magical place that has a size 12 Nike, brother. What you want is out there on the floor." And very, very much that way for us. But I mean, it's a tough scene when you just look at the comment section and every single person is essentially alluding to like there's no adjustments. And yes, I understand halftime adjustments aren't a thing, but there are, I mean, how many times did you see Rick Pitino go into the locker room in a close game or trailing, and by the 10-minute mark of the second half, it's pretty much in the books, right? It's just the one other thing I'd say about the second half adjustments, and yes, I see everybody's comments. We can go through and kind of read them and put them up on the screen here in a second. But
we can.
It's one of those things. As far as Pat Kelsey and adjustments, that he had a comment. I guess it was late last week. Somebody asked him about adjustments, and he basically, I think it was maybe Paul Rogers at his coach's show, and he basically said, "We do what we do. Like, I'm Pat Kelsey. I play my style of basketball, and I don't deviate from that." And then he gave some examples, right? He's like, Skip Prosser was that way, of course, the late great mentor Skip Prosser.
Sure.
But Jim Boeheim. I mean, look at Jimmy B, 40 years up there in Syracuse, playing that 2-3 zone. Yes, every coach has his DNA on a team, right? I mean, we saw it with Chris Mack played a pack line defense. He recruited elbow Sam type of players, right? And you had freaking Rick Pitino with the matchup zone and the full court press and the microwave guys coming off the bench, right? Like we understand and acknowledge styles of play are going to be part of what you bring along with you to your program, or that's why we brought Pat Kelsey in, because of his style of play. He plays a modern style of basketball. He's very analytic driven. He's has a coaching staff that really aligns with his vision and his goal of what this should look like. But at some point, you have to be able to make changes when things aren't going right? And I know that sounds so obvious, and I wish I could give you a little bit better of a breakdown, but it seems like when the wheels start falling off for this team, they just all come off at once, right? Like, you don't get one bald tire at a time, Alan. You get 4, and then you slide down Smyrna or wherever we were, right? It's that's kind of where I am at this point, is when you recruit such a veteran team that is such a good shooting team, it's pretty jarring to see how we just get into this lull of, because we're given the green light to take open threes, that doesn't mean that we can just only hunt open threes, right? How many times did you see Sananda Frew get the ball, between 5 and 10 feet from the basket tonight and not even look to score, Alan? How many times did you see Louisville looking to free somebody up from beyond the arc once they went down a little bit, rather than just making a concerted effort to get to the bucket and just get what the opposition's giving you? It's very frustrating, both from a coaching perspective, but also from a player's perspective. Like, I don't even know if if it's with merit to really dive too deep into Michael Brown, but the team as a whole, save Javon Hadley and first half Vangela Zugris, they just kind of mailed it in, right? Javon's not that guy. Javon's like me, right? Like, if we're playing a game to 24 and we're down 22-2, Alan, I'm gonna start pressing. Like, I'm I'm trying to be a dog for 40 minutes of the game, Alan, and I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I mean that's how Hadley is. But outside of that, you see it in the body language. You see it in they're stepping into open shots. We're stepping into open shots and not even in the correct posture. We're not even squaring to the basket. It's coming off flat. Like, we play almost sometimes, and I said this last season a little bit, they almost play sometimes like there's too much air in the ball. Like, they're just not quite sure how to manage the moment when they get the ball in their hands. Again, you pummeled Virginia Tech, 2.5 days ago, Saturday afternoon, right? Like, people weren't going to the game because the snowstorm was starting. That's how recently it was. But just across the board, you were getting some pretty lethargic play at the most important times. It seems like if they know with great confidence that they can win a game when they come in, they're gonna smoke them. And if there's any doubt in their minds whatsoever, it's game over from the jump.
Yeah, and couldn't have said it better. I think you made your rounds there. I think if we definitely should get to the comments here in a second, because I'd love to hear what the community feels about this. Like I want to hear some inside, like what's going on in people's heads, because like I'm going to talk about this in person to a shit ton of people tomorrow. And I kind of want to get some talking points. Like, this is the stuff that you and I, like, and Jacob and Matt, we all just kind of nerd out about, like, when we're away from podcasts and stuff like that, is like talking points, or like what about this? Or like, like just little nuggets that maybe I haven't thought of yet. But I will clean up one thing about what I said a minute ago, in that I just think it's cliche to say generally speaking, well, we got to make adjustments. Of course there's adjustments to be made. And you just said PK's not that guy. He just, he's going to do what he does. He does run a certain style. It's very clear that he runs what he's going to run and not really deviate much. The difference in Boeheim doing that is Boeheim ran a really, really, really nasty zone, like a absolute fucking nightmare zone to face. So if you see that in an NCAA tournament, you draw Syracuse, you know what I mean? You've got, a few days to prepare for Syracuse's zone, and say you're even the higher seed. They're an 11, they're a 6. I forget what they were when they went to the Final Four. Like, that's tough. That's a tough matchup for you, no matter what. If you run into a zone. And so I say that to say this. I'm going to say my infamous, rant about zones, okay? In the last few years, not even the NIL era, just the last 5, 6 years or something like that, playing zone, I see this at high school games. I see this. I saw this starting 5 years ago at grade school games. My stepson was playing grade school. But, people, when a coach threw a zone at a team to slow them down, people will go, are they playing zone? It's like they scoff at zone. Right. This is basic. Nobody wants to play this. Let me tell you a story. Nobody wants to lose by fucking 31 points. I don't care who you're playing. But if a team is running you down the court repeatedly, the definition of insanity is continue to do the same thing over and over and over. In basketball terms, that is running the exact same look of a defense. Do you think John Shire is sitting over there, right, with his pen in the pad being like, well, we got him 3 out of the last 4. Maybe we ought to run something different because I don't know if this 5th one. No, he's like, just dump it down. We have 3 or 4 mismatches that we can create right now because we have these guys scrambling all over the place. So my old man rant, and I don't think it should be an old man rant. I just think we are in a spot. The NBA, you don't need to. Everybody's an athlete, right? It's totally different. Everybody can defend. If you can't defend, you're not in the NBA. The people that can't defend that are NBA get called out repeatedly, and eventually, after about a season or 2, they just don't have a career anymore. They end up in the G League or something else. But, you must be able to defend in the NBA. That's why everybody runs that wide open, free-flowing, man-to-man allows it. But I think it's a weird stigma right now that we are in basketball in general, but especially D1 college basketball even, where we won a national championship. I mean, in the big scheme of things, it wasn't that long ago, really, 13 years ago. Can't believe it's been that long. But 13 years ago, where we would throw in a zone and we would really confuse some teams, mix it up. He even said, Pat Kelsey the other day said he threw in a 1-3-1 to kind of confuse Mike Young. I just feel like, why even work on it in practice at all if you're going to run it for a play or 2? This is a situation that you implement a zone for, and I'll tell you a personal story too here in a second. This is a situation when a team is just running it up your ass. I mean, literally running you ragged out there. And mind you, we're already down. Arguably our most athletic guy, and Kaysen, which I don't know what kind of effect he'd have been, but that's a body, out there. I think Kaysen still has maybe some regrouping to do on his injury, stuff like that. But you're down 2 guys, you don't have as many bodies as you did, at the beginning of the season or in the middle of the season, whatever it was, before Mike Hill got hurt. You don't have that many fresh bodies. So a zone also helps you there, where it's just these are simple rotations. Again, I'm not going to sit here and take up all the time talking about zone, but I will tell you this. And this is my only pop my collar moment as an AAU coach a few years ago. Okay. It's maybe 6 years ago. I don't even remember when I'll have to ask Peyton exactly, but we were in a middle of the road AAU program. We were nothing special, right? We went up against, at the time, what ended up, this was a heavily sponsored, heavily traveled team came in. They were called Focus. They're from here, but called Focus Academy. Had several top players that I'm not going to name names. They're all playing high-level high school basketball right now. 2 of them are starters for local teams. They came in, right, played us. We were getting our asses kicked. We were somehow hanging in there because we were hitting shots, but we ended up being down halftime by 15 or something like that. At halftime, my assistant looked at me and he's like, Coach, we have to go zone. And I was like, this is right around the turning point when everybody started to be like, this is weird. Zone's weird. Don't do that. Don't be weird. And I was like, man, the kids don't want to play it. He's like, these kids are like 8 years old, 9 years old, like 10, whatever. He's like, I don't care if they don't care. He's like, we're trying to beat focus, So I'm like, sure, man. I'm like, let's try it. So the 2-3 zone that we worked on off and on, in practice, we just implemented it. Ended up coming back and winning that game. And we made it weird. You know what? It was weird, actually. We made the game weird. We slowed everything down. We slowed it. Their player that went off in the first half pretty much silenced him in the second half because he's like, if I can't get to this spot and I can't look over here, like it's like all the windows close, the back door closes. There's nothing there. You have to shoot yourself over it. And honestly, that's not a high percentage shot in a zone. That's why the zone is so effective. Done with my zone rant, but I don't see very many. You have door number 1, door number 2, door number 3. Those scenarios. I don't know what's behind door number 1 or number 2 for Pat Kelsey. Of ways to fix this, because I know he wants to go, and you have to run man if you want to go. But against teams like Duke that don't care and they're going to slow it down anyway, and their half court is incredible and beautiful basketball. Actually, you have to figure out a way. And I think door number 3 should be a zone. If you've worked on a 1-3-1 in the practice, like he said he did, and threw it at Virginia Tech, I think you have to work on that a little bit more. And it's okay. Just be the weird guy. Be the guy that's like, oh, you're not going to get any recruits like that. Well, you think Mike Hill had a great time tonight? I promise you he didn't. You know what I'm saying? So sure. If we're talking about adjustments that Louisville could make, I think there's a big one, and it's running a zone. It's going into a zone. Just throw them a different look. Doesn't have to be the whole game. Just enough to throw them off. You could throw it in for a segment and then jump right out of it. But if it's working, you might want to stick with it. With some teams, I think Duke is one of those teams.
Yeah, I mean, we talk a lot about getting kills, right? 3 stops in a row. That was a Chris Mack thing. It's now a Pat Kelseyism. Kenny Payne.
That Skip Prosser thing then, I guess.
Yeah, a kill for Kenny Payne was maybe it was a Skip Prosser thing. What was the kill for Kenny Payne if Louisville made 3 free throws in a row?
I thought you had a punchline. Yeah.
I don't know, man. But no, regardless, it's been a common talking point, and in the first half, Louisville had several kills. I don't know. That feels like a weird thing to say to me, right? Like it's not quite nerdy enough for me. I'm not quite in the cool kids club by saying that. Louisville had several kills in the first half. They had a really solid defensive stretch. I mean, we talked about, privately, Alan, about Louisville was down, I believe, at the under 12 timeout. They were down by 2 points. I believe it was 22-20. And when they got to the under 8 timeout, they were down 26-20. So they were getting defensive stops. They were making good plays defensively and hypothetically creating offense out of that, right? And couldn't do anything with it. I mean, layups were atrocious. They were 3 for 10 in the first half on layups. They can't finish around the basket. They cannot finish through contact. My God. Sananda Frew, when he's good, he's really good, man. When he's good, he's really good. But when there's an opposing big man who is even remotely skilled, he's gonna get cooked. And he is gonna get his shit sent multiple times. It's pretty maddening to see a guy, either try to go back to the basket or try to just square up for a dunk, just anything, and any sort of contact makes him miss it. I mean, he had a shot tonight where he got a rebound and the ball glided, I guess, off of his wrist and bounced over the rim. Didn't even touch rim, I don't think. Just some really, really weird, silly miscues from Sananda Frew tonight. And Pat Kelsey, I mean, you saw him multiple times getting on Sonny's ass because you know what type of player he can be.
Yeah.
I mean, he has multiple almost 20-point double doubles this season. I mean, he's he can be a top 5-6 big men in the ACC. I don't think that's like a crazy thing to say, and that's all Louisville needs him to be. But against quality opponents, against Virginia, I mean, he was absolutely a non-factor. I mean, they are excellent, obviously, at walling up defense down low. But I mean, my God, Alan, it is. It was a tough scene down there. Did want to quickly give a shout out to Vinjalis Zugris. I mean, I've been his
Yes.
number one detractor since before the man ever put on a Louisville uniform. I think you could speak to that more than anybody. And it's not necessarily because I think that he's just this terrible player, but he just feels like just a god awful fit on this team. I mean, the dude is 6'5". Like, let's be real about it. He's 6'5", maybe 6'6", maybe, and just built like a freaking brick house, man. Like I feels like he chose the wrong sport. Like he would be huge in football, but in basketball, he is not by any means a large man. He's a lot of weight to push around. Regardless, when the season started, I think you, Roman Kelly, even Jacob to an extent were very high on Zugris, and I felt like he was the guy that I wanted to see redshirt. Like he's just not. When you watch highlights of him in Europe, like what is he bringing to the table for you? Like, I mean, yeah, he had a bloody nose one time and took a really cool picture. But the reality,
that's what he brings to the table, his bloody nose.
I mean, the reality is for the first 15, 16 games of the season, I guess has really been the last 4 games that he's been solid. For the first 15 or 16 games, I mean, whenever he played, it was a scene. Like something was going to happen, and it was going to be entertaining at the very least and terrifying in a worst case scenario. Terrifier. Sorry, I haven't said any scary movies in a while. Just
I love
it was
Terrifier.
atrocious.
I love
but whatever happened, and I if we can give it to the Etsy witch, Tracy, she was fantastic in communicating to me about Vangelis Zugris, and she called it right. Like, your energy guys have to bring that energy to the table, Alan. And his energy, his aura, has changed quite a bit. But it's almost like he stole Sonny's powers or something. I don't know. I don't know what's been going on, but the fact that you're really, I mean, your number one option tonight, I can't believe I'm saying this, was down low, was Vangelis Zugris, the 6'5" guy who really has to bend his knees pretty hard to dunk. Like, it's just a tough scene down low. And I think that exacerbates the issues that Louisville's having on the perimeter. I mean, let's talk about that for a second. Michael Brown tonight was a mess in every sense of the word.
Oh boy.
I mean, you see it, right? Like, you can kind of see the expression on his face. Like, at any point he could start going off, but he couldn't even, like, he was pulling the chain on the lawnmower, and it was just like just nothing was happening for the guy tonight. Every time he tried to force something, it was just ugly and led to a run out or a score for Duke. I mean, basically a turnover, taking some of the shots that he took. Some of the turnovers where he got into the lane multiple times and just lost the ball. Just really out of his element all night. Ryan Conwell, much of what we get accustomed to seeing when Ryan Conwell isn't getting his way on offense. He had a stretch in the first half where he looked okay, right? Like he was making plays. He had that nice sequence where he had a step back 3, basically more or less on a fast break early in the shot clock. And that's the basket that put Louisville ahead for the one time in the game. And then after that, it was not great. He's been a sieve on defense. He and Michael end together. I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, it's inexcusable. You should never play Ryan Conwell and Michael Brown, or not be playing Conwell or Brown." Hard disagree, because if you watch some of the defense tonight, I mean, understandably, we are not in the best position to defend in the post, but the fact that the ball was getting there so easily, Alan, is gravely concerning. And then obligatory Kobe shout out is where I'll leave it. I believe the last I checked, it was 2 minutes played tonight. I'm not sure if he was injured. Haven't gotten a chance. Obviously, we jumped right on. Haven't gotten a chance to listen to PK yet. But man, it was it was a disgusting scene. Kobe Rogers, notwithstanding. Hope the guy's okay. Hope it's not disciplinary or anything. But it's just a weird thing to see. Michael doesn't have it going, and you just don't play Kobe. Just tough. I don't know. Any thoughts on individual performances?
You touched on perimeter shooting. I thought that was a good. I'm not here to we talk about on the perimeter, kind of like the big three of this year would be, Michael, Ryan Conwell, and Isaac McNeely. I guess like that big three, or like the big four. Even you could push that out to Adrian Woolley. But I think like the main three that you're like, I expect this. I expect you to shoot this way from the outside, at least. I don't even have a number next to that. Would be Michael, Ryan Conwell, Isaac McNeely, right? Isaac, hello. I'm talking. If anybody I'm a single out, would be Isaac, even though he hit a couple shots, but just guy disappears for stretches upon stretches. But I only bring up these three because I had somebody text me early in the second half when we were clankety clank, and they said, with this exact same team, just shooting the three, who do you trust more? Which three do you trust more? And it said Ryan Conwell, Isaac McNeely, Michael Brown, or Fat Edwards, Chucky Hepburn, Rain Smith. And I that should not be a tough question. Like if you ask me preseason, I'm like, oh, what do you mean? We've solved our offense, any offensive whatever, we've solved it because we got these three and they're sharpshooters, and I'm not worried about it. We have solved the offense. And I think if you put a poll out there right now, I think some people are going to be I know I'm pretty nostalgic about Rain Smith, about what he was able to do last year. That was pretty special. I think he went on a hell of a run last year and got hurt, obviously, and stuff like that, and kind of hampered that. But I don't know, that might be a worthy poll to put out there because, and I know it's tough to do that right after a loss and to think this way. This person texted me early in the second half, and I was like, man, you know what? Because I mean, those three just, I don't know what the difference was, to be honest with you. And I have to go back and look at percentages and stuff like that. But those three, and again, I'm not trying to single out those three, but it seems like the percentages, we expected them to be much higher than what they are. I think collectively they shoot in the low 30s or something like that. Those three. Not going to pin it all on them because you kind of touched on Sananda. We've been really high on Sananda. Some games I think he deserves a fair amount of criticism one way or the other. Not to throw him under the bus, but like you said, there's been a couple times. I just grew up with, and you did too, Denny Crum, Rick Pitino. If my big guy gets it down there, if you're able to get it down there and he's on an island, I don't care who's guarding him. I don't care if it's Cam Boozer. Son, go to work, And if we're taking a dribble and I don't know, you're afraid to put a move, whether you're afraid of yourself, effing up, or you're afraid somebody on the coaching staff, if you miss that, Kelsey's going to yank you. I'm sorry. If it's the latter, that's unacceptable from a coaching standpoint because, and we both grew up, and I mean, I partially grew up in the Patino era too. I was in high school when he came along.
Sure.
Right. But he would let guys play. You could play through mistakes. I mean, I remember being frustrated at first, but then you see a guy go through, Patino just understood, listen, I don't care if a guy misses a shot, right? If you're open, you take that fucking shot, and as long as you're hustling for me, you don't have anything to worry about. You're gonna get your minutes. These are the things that I expect, and I feel like I could be dead wrong about this, but it kind of appears to be the guys are just afraid to. We only have 4 guys that are yeah, if you are open at all, shoot that three. There's only 4 guys, maybe Hadley too, but Hadley has to be clean and set.
Right.
He can't be moving at all. Don't put a move, Hadley. You have to be clean, catch and shoot, sort of. Or if you happen to dribble into an open shot or rebound comes to you, sure. But outside of that, there's really nobody that the tape that we saw through before the season, one thing that I was like really excited about was that I'm like, holy crap, this guy can shoot too. Are you kidding me? Like, so everybody's gonna be able to shoot. Like, we're gonna have a ton of shooters, and there's only a select few people that I say this with a grain of salt, like allowed. It appears as though they're not allowed to shoot at free will, right? Like, we're trying to get the highest metric, blah blah blah, all that good stuff. But dude, if you're jacking up, I don't even know what it was today, 38 threes or something like that, and you're hitting the percentage you're hitting, and you don't have any big dogs down there that can offensive rebound or tip out or that are athletic enough to get off the ground, I don't think Fruit and Allie are as athletic as we thought. And definitely not Allie, but Fruit, I don't think he's near as athletic as we thought. I remember preseason, you said it looks like he jumps like his shoes are heavy. Fruit, right? That's no knock on, and I don't think he's had any major injuries. I think the kid's like 20, So again, we could go to the beginning of the season and we could kind of poke at who he recruited and what their role was going to be. But nights like tonight, not that he would save the game, but I really miss, and I've said this a few times this year, I really miss James Scott tonight, specifically. I think he might be like riding a pine down at Ole Miss or whatever. So like, grass isn't always greener, man. But I think like he had something, him and PK had like an understanding here, and he was a pretty good fit here. He's a guy that would get down there and at least tap it off the glass, even if he was getting pushed around. Sure, we griped about that, but it's nothing like we're seeing when we go up against big dogs this year. I mean, we're getting slaughtered. It's like a guaranteed slaughter. So anyway, if I went player by player, I could pick apart a lot of different things, a lot of ugly things that I saw. I haven't even gotten started on talking about our superstar. I don't even know if I'll get to do that, but I mean, basically an off night, and his way to solve it. It's unfortunate because he can hit these shots. We see him, hit the pull up and everything like that. Like when he lets go of it, I'm like, oh, this guy can hit that. Michael can hit that long one, But that's the way that's like his remedy for when he's having an off night is to let me see if I can pull this up and get going. And like, again, if we're playing a 5-out and you don't have anybody on the block, nobody in the dunker spot, nobody in a good rebounding position, it's a hell of a bold strategy, Cotton. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of good points made there, and look, a lot of good points being made in the chat. Have obviously very seriously neglected this year, but a lot of comments very similar to what we've been saying, Alan. It's a lot along the same lines of, we got David's been very active in the chat. Conwell's played well against Duke. McNeely, not so much. Brown was bad. Brown was bad tonight, but I think, I don't know. I mean, I would assume you'd rather take Michael at 80% than no Michael at all. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's tough. He's coming back for.
Yeah.
I'm the least worried about Michael, right? Like, we know more than almost anybody what we can get from him. Tonight it was bad. I saw this comment, Dan Duke fan for life. Thanks for joining, Dan Duke fan for life. Your team is soft. You live and die by the three. Yep, agree with both of those. To be honest, Pat Kelsey's criminally overrated.
Sure.
Who is?
Yeah.
I don't know what.
We don't know yet.
Maybe.
I'm
not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. Who is highly rating Pat Kelsey? I think we are big fans here of Pat Kelsey, but he feels like more like an unknown than any other coach in power college basketball. But criminally overrated. I don't know. I'd say he's just. I'd just say he's just rated. Like, he's not. I think there are some people in a lot of circles that there are people in many circles that think that he's got the goods. Like, he's got what it takes to win a national title. But I mean, let's be honest. We've seen. I mean, Pat Kelsey. And God love him for this. We beat Kentucky start to finish. That was fantastic. Like we said to start the show, probably going to end up being our best win of the year, right? That's great. We love that.
Yeah.
Outside of that,
Cincinnati.
but outside of that, we've literally don't have a ranked win besides that in Clemson last year. I mean, that's it. And I understand last year's schedule.
We beat our rivals. Hang the banner. We beat our rivals.
Right. Exactly. It was like the whole.
Sorry,
we beat We beat
Can't
Miami
delay.
and
Sorry, go
JMU,
ahead.
and they were in the playoffs. Like that whole thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Regardless,
Facts.
against Tennessee, Arkansas, hell, Stanford. Um, we talk about first half of Cincinnati
Yeah.
was ugly, right? Like it took a gut check to come back on that one. I'm trying to think of and then obviously two big losses to Duke and a blowout loss to Virginia, right? Like those are losses, and they were all very much the same. Like you said, Alan, same old song and dance from Louisville, and it seems like kind of the same story. It's kind of hard to identify and pinpoint one particular thing that if they did X better, then Y would happen, right? Like it's very much been this, they get down and then like it's like they land the first punch and then the whole team comes around our team and just starts like kicking the shit out of and punching the team and we can't get up and fight back, right? Like that's kind of a
Yeah.
metaphor. Like we're like can't think of their names. Somebody help me out in the comments. The two guys in Step Brothers, Brennan and Dale, and the little kids are making us eat white dog poop. Because that is the perfect metaphor for when Louisville plays a team that
Yeah.
has I'm not going to say has a pulse. They have some solid wins this year, but against a tournament caliber team outside of Kentucky, it's been ugly. It's been downright infuriating, and it's kind of got me back in a similar headspace to where I was. A similar headspace to where I was after the Virginia game, right? And it's that, it's tough to stomach because we thought that we really had the goods this year. We thought that you have a combination of I'm not going to say generational talent, but one of the better young talents you've ever had come into the program, and some really
Yeah.
solid returning pieces. It's been just a polar opposite in many ways of what we expected, and that falls on the players, but it falls on the coaching staff ultimately, right? It falls on the guys who constructed this team. It falls on the people who they thoroughly vet these guys, right? Like this isn't just. I think a lot of people have this misconception that in the portal era, it's like, okay, the portal opens and we don't know who's going in, and we don't know who's coming out. We know, right? Like it was a very, very, very terribly kept secret that Isaac McNeely was not a lock, but a thought very highly of Louisville, and they felt the same, right? Like that doesn't have to be Pat Kelsey, ring. Hey, Isaac, it looks like you guys aren't going to be in the tournament this year. Would you like to play some ball for us next year? No, there's we're working back channels, and there's analytics that come into it. There's interviews. There's meetings and visits and a lot of stuff that happens, and a lot of conversations between agents and those behind the scenes at U of L. All of that to say, this was a just like Pat Kelsey's first team, very carefully constructed team. They truly felt like this was a team that's Final Four caliber, and nationally they were thought of the same way in the preseason, and we haven't fallen out of the rankings all year, right? Like even after you're taking these ass whoopings after ass whooping, you're still staying in the top 25. People still think that you're a talented team. You're still highly thought of across the country. But man, I think tonight might have changed a lot of minds, right? First big Monday of the season, you're the first game, and you go to Duke and just get whopped, right? Like from that whatever it was 2 or 3 minute mark in the first half until the very end of the game, the last 23 minutes, you got absolutely just pummeled. You got outworked, out hustled. You got out executed. Every time the other team put a shot up, we knew it was going in. Every time you put a shot up, we all knew it was going to miss, right? Like it was atrocious from that point on. That falls on the coaching staff, but it falls on the players too, man. I mean, like we're at the point now where, and I see a lot of people in the comments kind of alluding to this a little bit. A lot of arguing in the comments. Guys, it's going to be okay. We're all going to wake up tomorrow and the snow will have melted a little bit more, and we're going to go on with our lives. It's going to be okay. But what I will say is that, I mean, we're at a point where, I mean, the players warrant some criticism, right? Like there was straight up, I don't know if you call it quitting, but loafing tonight, 100%. There were multiple Duke possessions where you couldn't get the damn rebound to save your life, right? Balls hitting you straight in the hands, no diddy, and bouncing straight into Duke players' hands for an easy dunk, right? It just seemed like everything that could go wrong did go wrong, but that's a mentality within this team, right? Like that is the picture that you've painted. That is the narrative that you've woven so far this season, that this is you. If a team is talented enough and gets a good punch in on you, you're going to lay down and take it, right? Like there's how many times this season has Louisville gone down 10 points and had some, big comeback where they stormed back and took the lead? No, that's not a thing that happens. This team either plays from a lead, or they just lay down and let you beat the crap out of them.
Exactly. If you look, our score for one game or whatever, 76. I'm pretty sure game it wasn't that close. Indiana, I think, was 8, I think. And that game wasn't that close. But we get so far out, we either jump on people or they jump all over us. Just half earlier. Or just they had, I think years about reconnecting right now.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, I was about to ask if everybody in the chat, if everybody can hear Alan okay. Yeah, we're cutting out a little bit. If you go off camera for just a second, we may get reconnected here. But this is the challenges that come with. These are the challenges that come with us not being able to show up at main event. Speaking of which, if you were not joining us at the start of the show, we're supposed to be at main event tonight. Obviously, with good reason, we are coming to you live from the remote main event studios, but we will be back and in person for multiple events there in the coming year. So if you guys haven't checked out main event, bowling, laser tag, over 100 arcade games, elevated food and drink menu, a lot of drink specials coming out that we'll be able to reveal to you guys here very soon. And we can't wait to see you guys out there for the rest of the season. Hi, Alan.
Hello.
Hey, you're back and we can hear you.
I don't know what happened. I think this thing died and it was like my phone got confused or something.
Yeah. Somebody said you got that McDonald's Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Let me tell you, this is not the first.
This is not
Wi-Fi
our first rodeo, folks. We've had all kinds of fun at Alan's house. No diddy.
Oh, and yeah.
So by the way, I can't stop saying that because that's what my kids say now, right? Like 167 went out. Now, like only me and my wife are like 67. Oh, right? Yeah. The kids are like, oh, well.
I know.
One of them said it tonight, and I was like, "It's the first time in like 10 days I've heard 6'7". I forgot that existed for a second."
Yeah, I think they just do it to mock us now, the kids. I think it's like we all killed it collectively. Yeah. And it's to the point where like
fine with. By the way, I love doing that.
Oh yeah, I do it all the time. And the other day was so funny. Like it was like a week or so ago. I was calling in reservations, and the lady was like, she's like, "How many will you have?" And we literally were going to have 6 of us and the toddler. And I said, no, we're going to have 6 and a toddler. I said, so like 6 or 7. And then like on the phone, I go 6 or 7. And you could tell the girl that was like the hostess was like 20 years old. And she was just like, so, like she just went about it. And like the embarrassment through the phone, dude, like ate me alive. I was like, I'm so sorry. I can't believe I said that. I hate myself. Do you have us though? There's going to be 7 of us. 6
I'm
and a
sure
baby.
there are guys out there like the Michael Scotts of the world that just made it their full personality. Like they're like picking up women at bars by saying, "Hey, do you know what 66 plus 1 is?" Like, just
Yeah.
Louisville has to be good for college basketball to be good, and you act like we're nothing. We're a top 10 program. That may have been directed at us. That may have been directed at the comment section. Everybody is metaphorically fighting with their words in the comment section, and that's good. Get it all out. I
Yeah.
promise you, we're all going to wake up in the morning, and life is going to be great.
And I'm with that, right? Like, I mean, like, dude, we know, who this is? Denzel, dude, Denzel Crumb. You know who that is? Who these people are? Like, this thing is from the 50s right here. My mom got me this. I got all kinds of shit. I can show you all kinds of shit over here. Look at all this shit. Look at all this fucking shit. That's from the 80s. Like, all this shit.
Yeah.
Look at all this. Do you think we don't know?
That's where you pet the turf, bro.
Like, dude, this shit is fucking, like, this is real life. But I'm also to the point where I'm watching the game. My wife was like, "You need to sit down." I was like, beat red. She's like, "You need to sit down. You good?" She knows, like, I'll get, like, high blood pressure and I'll just get, like, I slam my phone and stuff. And I try to tell her, I'm like, I'm trying to be better about that. But, like, you should have seen me in my 20s, in my 30s, whatever it was, like, trying not to do that because I know that is, like, a blood pressure thing. I'm trying to be more conscious about it. Like, this shit pisses me off too because it makes me mad because I know we're a top 10 program. I see the dude Curly Hicks Sage, on Twitter, and, like, God bless this dude, like a diehard UMass fan, but, like, he had a great point. He's like, a big part of my fanhood is getting in the mud every single time we play. If I get in the mud and the basketball knowledge flows out, and I'm like, here's what we need to be doing. He's like, I'll focus on why didn't we beat like St. Bonaventure tonight? Like, he'll be like, he'll lose his mind over it. But, like, that's how you fan. And so I think with games like this, when we don't live up to this standard right here, these standards, like, I like to get in the mud with it. I think, like, he said that one night when they lost to St. Bonaventure, like, earlier this year, last season or something. And, like, I thought it was a great thing because, like, when you do care about your team so much, like, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, you know what, and sit here and make excuses. Like, I'll do that on Twitter. Sometimes it's just a bit, or I'll troll, or I'll just be like, like, I laugh at my pain kind of thing on Twitter. But, like, when we get in front of a camera and we do this, like, this podcast is for, like, when we beat Kentucky, like, I put on the Toy Story cowboy hat and I was, like, flipping off the camera and UK fans, and, like, I was in my feelings, right? It's a totally different vibe. But
Right.
when you lose a game, it's okay to get in and be like, well, we can't do this right. This doesn't seem fixable right now. I don't know what PK is going to do here. Like, it's good to just, I don't have time to think. We're on a post-game podcast. I've not had a chance to process this game at all. I haven't a chance to look at the stats. You said, hey, man, I'm going to hop in. There's like 2 minutes to go in the game. And I'm like, yeah, I was like, I was like, I've seen enough. Me too. Now, we did have some technical difficulties getting in, but that was just part of the gig. But
it's life, baby. That's jazz.
It's life, right? But, like, this, you get ready, and I say this all the time. I fell in love with a Louisville basketball team that had a losing record, right? So, like, I was in the mud a lot, and I heard the people that were taking me to games were in the mud during the game, and, like, that's where I learned to get in the mud. So, like, I get it. People say that we're a top 10 program. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Like, I got a Cardinal tattooed right here. I forgot where it was almost. He's faded as hell. I got one tatted, dude. Like, and I'm probably gonna get another one and another one. Like, it's a way of life. Like, so when people say that, like, I'm not even trying to argue with you. Like, I totally get it. I'm just telling you why. I'm explaining to you,
sure,
like, why we are in the mud, dude. Like, it's okay to get dirty with shit like this. And, like, we're right now, like, tonight, just getting dirty with it. What's the issue? What are the issues? How do we fix them? Or we're going to coach. We're the Monday morning quarterback or whatever they say. But we're the 10 p.m. Analytics guy. That's what we are.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand and absolutely agree with most of the comments. In a PG way, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, we're at a point now. 2017 is the last time that we made it and won a tournament game. Alan, that's 9 years ago. Right? Yeah. Like, what were you doing? You know the trend that's going around right now. I don't know if I guess you're not on the gram. You're not on the gram very much. I've seen some on Twitter and other spaces, but it's been mostly on Instagram and TikTok. People have been talking about what life was like in 2016 because people, it's pre-COVID. It was, Obama was coming out of office. Economy was like sitting all right. Like we weren't in like any serious wars or conflicts. And people kind of like are, feel this nostalgia for 2016, right? Like that's when like the chain smokers were wah 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 every song,
Sure.
and
Okay. Yeah.
like 2016 was a little bit of a vibe, right? Like
Yeah. Okay.
2016 was a long ass time ago. A lot of stuff has changed since 2016. We
Sure.
we were completely different human beings back then, right?
Hmm.
2017 is not that much, further after, obviously, but that's the last time. If you think about where you were in life in 2017, that's the last time Louisville won a tournament game, right? Like
Hmm.
we're sickos just like you guys in the comments as well, right? Like we're just here to have a convo and here to put our hand around your shoulder and say it's okay. We we know, man. Like me me and my wife talk about this all the time, right? Like I went to 27 games during the Kenny Payne era, right? Like I was
Mm.
I was cheering for uh, Manny Okorafor and Fabio Basili, right?
Yeah.
Like I was going crazy for Fabio Basili, like not that long ago, bro.
Yeah.
Like we've been at the highest highs. I was at the national championship game, right? Like literally, I think we talked about this the other day. Drove down day of the game, found some tickets. Me and my brother. That's the one. I mean, besides the births of our of his children and his marriage, my marriage, like moments like that in life, it's
Mm.
right up there, right? Like,
Amazing. Yeah.
um, you know, th- we've experienced what the highest of highs are like, and that was not that long ago, my friend.
Hmm.
But since those moments, we've experienced a precipitous fall, and it's not like this season this team is that bad. I mean, we just beat Pittsburgh by 41 on the road, right? Like we just beat a really good Virginia Tech team it plays everybody like to the final whistle, by double digits, and just whopped them the entire game. Like
Yeah.
mop the floor with them, right? Like this is a good team with a lot of potential, but we are seeing that when you face a quality opponent like a Duke, like a Tennessee or Arkansas, another team with a little bit more athleticism, some more length, and a little bit better coaching. I mean, it's been curtains so far, and I think that that's the storyline as we're going forward in the season, right? Like the schedule as we're coming up, not that terrifying, right? Like you host SMU on Saturday, then you host Notre Dame, go to Wake Forest. None of these are like super intimidating games. NC State, a solid team, but you host them, and they've not lived up to expectations. Even they've fallen even flatter than Louisville has of recent. You go to Baylor, which we thought was going to be like a huge marquee matchup. That's a neutral site game against an opponent that has just simply not been very good this year. They're 11-8 at this point in the season. Then you go from there to SMU again, back home against Georgia Tech. That stretch right there, man. I see a lot of potential, not only wins but big wins,
Yeah.
right? And Louisville could go. That's the concerning part for me, right? Louisville could go forward until they play North Carolina on the 23rd of February. So we're looking at literally 4 weeks from now. They could go 4 straight weeks playing basically the same exact way and sharing the same identity that they are, right now and have been over the last couple of months, and go 8-0, 7-1. And all of a sudden we're back on top of the world and we think that this team is fixed and everything's good, but then you're running in North Carolina, Clemson, and then you have to go to Miami to finish out the season.
Hmm.
Syracuse squeeze in there as well, but they're just high. Um, all of that is to say, I mean, you can still look up and you finish the season with 8 or 9 losses. Um, you know, top half, top quarter of the ACC, and still feel like there's this void, right? Like you're like a
Yeah.
5 or 6 seed, but you got 1 or 2 seed talent, man. And that's the frustrating part, and something that fans are gonna have to deal with now for the next. Like I said, you don't play that many great opponents. You don't play any ranked teams, and you don't play any opponents that really scare you. SMU has some serious size, but their big man's kind of like a Monstar version of Ali Khalifa, kind of, right? Like, kind of mobile but can't really jump, but he's 7'3", so I don't know. But I mean, like outside of that, there's not a lot to be super concerned over. And I think as a fan, just like my inclination is just to think, all right, well, we're probably gonna come home and be pissed off and freaking whoop up on SMU, and then whoop up on a pretty mid Notre Dame team, and then whoop up on a I don't know what's happened to Wake Forest. Steve
Yeah.
Forbes was, I mean, we were talking about, we wanted him to come to Louisville.
I know.
They've been not good this year.
Yeah.
Point being, not a lot of intimidating teams, and you could just have the same identity and do the same shit over and over, Alan, and beat all these teams by 10 to 30 points, and then be going into North Carolina and be like, I don't think we got it, bro. Like, I think that's a very realistic possibility as we're rounding out January and heading into February. I don't know. Any thoughts about what we're looking to see? What are some tangible things that we could see to make us believe that this team is any different than what we know that they are at this point?
AirPods died, so hope I'm coming through okay.
You sound so good.
Okay. I've leaned in a little bit so that you can pick up the volume, because if I go a little bit too far, I think it's kind of weird.
Don't do that. No.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath and talk
Yes.
from your chest, young man.
Here's what's going to happen. But I think, we are. It's funny because I remember when Kentucky was having their little spout. I really don't want to go this route right now, but I feel like this is a good example to use. Kentucky was having their little problems after Gonzaga loss and after Michigan State's loss and something else that they struggled with. And Pope was doing all of his kumbaya shit in the pressers and all that, and they were not having it. Kentucky fans were not having we're trying to find the story of ourselves. I still think some of that's what were you saying? What were you talking about? But for lack of a better, and he's even, Jaden Quaitons hasn't played in a couple games. He's gotten something out of these kids. I'm not going to sit here and worship. I hope they extend him, by the way. Don't sit here. I don't want anybody to be like, oh, you want Pope. No, I hope they give him a 20-year contract, because I think the way he plays, the way he defends, and he doesn't leave anybody down low and stuff. I mean, this is with this roster, bodes well for us long term. And the way that Pat Kelsey refuses to change. So he says that's what he does. But I think it has to be that you're not going to teach Sananda Frew post moves in 2 days or 3 days, right? You're not going to the guys that are shooting low 30s, they're going to continue to shoot overall low to mid 30s. Now, I think we have a lot better outlook down the stretch of the season than we did in the first part of the season, but it's still nothing to, you can't shake a stick at it, right? Like you said, you could end up with a lot more losses than you anticipated and be in a rough shape, come March. Not rough shape like bubble, but you could be, an 8 or 9 seed again, very easily. And I would shrug my shoulders this year, well, last time we bitched about being an 8 seed and got our doors blown off because this is how we play, But I think, with Pat Kelsey, it's, as a Louisville fan, I asked myself, and this is just something that's been burning, for the past, since we got lost the Tennessee game, I was kind of what do I want to hear from my coach after loss, especially after a bad loss like this? What is the message that I want to hear from my coach? Because I know the locker room's tight, but do I want to hear hey, business as usual, we're going to go back to practice, the Bobby Petrino 2.0 thing, where we're just going to get back to practice? We didn't want to hear that. It was really bad messaging that ended up, losing him, I guess, the locker room and the fan base within a few weeks. Not saying that's going to happen with PK, but I think some of the fan base are starting to get sour on his style. I know I'm starting to get sour on the offense as a whole, because you're basically one-dimensional. And any good coach, and we've seen good coaches, even programs that aren't blue blood or high, I won't even call Tennessee a blue blood. I'll just say any high-level coach is going to be able to pick you apart. Can say that, down low, they're not a threat whatsoever offensively. You can leave this guy open, this guy open. So I don't know if obviously, like, you haven't practiced this long. There are guys that have been on the roster since early last year, Javon Hadley. You can't just say, hey, Javon, we're going to reteach you the offense. We're going to do it this way now. But you can add little wrinkles. Maybe it's, like I said, I'm not even going to get into the zone rant again. I'll just keep it offensively, right? I think everybody, if you're out there and you were recruited, part of the way that you were recruited was to shoot threes, I think you should be able to do it. I think my biggest pet peeve with the offense is this, and I've been pretty outspoken about it. We only shoot two kinds of, unless your name is Michael Brown Jr., we only shoot two kinds of shots. It's all the way up under the rack, and he allows us to shoot reverses and things like that, but it's all the way up under there, or it's a three ball. And the three ball, if you watch the threes, if you go back and watch tonight, any game really, if you watch the three balls go up, you might have a defender, but he's rarely on the far side of the ball. He just has guys crashing. However, like, hey, if you can get there, go for it. There's nothing really by design. I think it's assumed we're going to make this shot. We're going to assume we're going to make this because it's a positive for the way that we want the flow of the game to be. And I understand all that too. But you cannot run a pro style up and down if you're not shooting like a pro team or shooting in a percentage or in the vicinity of a pro team, right? And I think that's my only thing is, like, the only people that our bigs shoot layups. They don't shoot over the shoulder turnaround hooks. They don't put a post move and then over the opposite shoulder. Like, there's no fade. I'm talking driveway shots. Like, we don't do any of those. Again, like, I've been a broken record on Twitter about that. And just like maybe to an annoying point, because I'm just like yelling at a brick wall essentially, because I don't think he's going to change that. Mm-hmm. So but I think with the fans, like, how does he message? What's the messaging to us, after this moving forward? I really want to see the post-game presser, because the comments are going to be ugly. The next coach's show is going to be kind of like, all right, man, like, okay, who do we got next? Like, we're picked to win by 10, so we'll probably win by 10. But, like, right. I can't get too high anymore after those, right? Because I know there's a monster under the bed, essentially.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Just to quickly hit on that point about crashing the glass, I think that opponents that struggle against Louisville does a better job at crashing the glass, because they know that the opponent is going to play a slowed down style, right? So they are able to crash the glass a little bit more, because they know, for instance, if you're playing, Virginia switch coaches, but it still holds true to in a sense that if they missed a shot, Virginia wasn't in any hurry to get the ball up the floor very often, right? Like, they may every once in a while catch you sleeping. But point being, it's a lot easier to, take threes and then everybody hit the glass if you know that, they're not going to North Carolina outlet pass you, right?
Yeah.
And you're right. There are a lot of times, and you see this a lot more. It's a lot more obvious when Louisville is winning by a wide margin, and you see a lot of the whole, a guy gets open, he's squaring up to shoot a three, and the whole team starts jogging back down court like, he made it, like already throwing up signs and soaring like an eagle down the court.
Yeah.
There is definitely a little bit of that with this team. But overall, like, I know Hadley wasn't like elite by any sense tonight, and he was, he just doesn't have the size and athleticism to stick with Duke's size and athleticism as the four.
Yeah.
But my God, man, if you just had five guys on the floor playing like that at all times, you're not going to lose many games.
Sure.
And like, Javon Hadley doesn't give a shit, in a sense that he knows this is, like, for a guy like that, this is the pinnacle. This is as good as it's going to get. This is his opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's going to go play in Europe somewhere and make some decent money for the next few years. But I mean, the reality is, for a guy like that, like, he plays like every possession is critical. That's why I loved Kobe Rogers, because I loved that he did everything, right? He rebounded, he facilitated, he makes open shots, but he also just gives it 3,000%, right? Like he plays like his hair's on fire. And that's why I've always been such a big fan of his and sticking up for him. And same with Zugris. Like, say what you want about his game, regardless of games that he's played in this year. But my man, he's balls to the wall. But there's a lot of, you saw a lot of lethargic looks and postures from Michael Brown and Ryan Conwell. You really didn't get much at all out of Adrian Woolley tonight. You didn't have, as this kind of conversation, flowed into this, and just going back to that for just a second, just the rebounding, the crashing the glass. I mean, Duke doubled you up on the boards tonight. Duke made twice as many baskets as you made. Louisville made 16 baskets all night. That's normally in a normal game against a top 100 opponent. Louisville makes 16 and a half. They made 16 all game tonight. Duke made 31 baskets. It's just, there is some mental hurdle that Louisville did not have with last year's team, right? Last year's team was locked the fuck in all the time.
Sure.
Last year's team they were consistent. I mean, part of that's Chucky Hepburn, part of that's Rain Smith, right? But there was a concerted effort to play exactly the way that Pat Kelsey wants to play. And I think this year he's had to adjust because of the pieces that are on the roster. And clearly something's not gelling. Players are playing much more selfishly. They get out of, they make decisions that are out of what the expectation should be, right? It's out of sequence. It's out, the timing is not correct. When they're good, they're good. Louisville had that stretch, especially on offense. If we just stick with offense for just a second, they had that stretch with a very unconventional lineup, right? It was Zugris, Khalifa, I believe it was Michael Brown, Woolley, and Hadley, right? I believe that was the lineup. And they had a great run. They had like a 7-0, 9-0 run where everything was working, right? Khalifa was gelling with Conwell, or I can't remember who it was, Hadley or Conwell, cutting into the lane, playing a little two-man game. They did that multiple times in that little stretch. Zugris is walling up, looking like a beast against Cameron Boozer, and obviously he adjusted and looked great and made Zugris look silly in the second half. But they were very free flowing. They were playing loose there for a second. The offense was flowing well. Everybody was connected. They were playing within the flow and expectations of the offense, and then it just stopped. It just stopped. They miss a few shots. Guys start taking over and trying to play hero ball. And it feels like when Louisville gets down against a Duke or an Arkansas or a Tennessee, those are really the three that stand out to me as all being very similar in talent, size. They bring a lot of the same things to the table that Louisville doesn't have and that Louisville's not well equipped to play against. So that's why I always grouped them in together. But Duke twice, Arkansas, and Tennessee, they go down 10 or 15 points, and all of a sudden it goes from this team feels like they can make a 20-0 run at any point to I don't know when they're going to make another basket. Like the offense is not free flowing. People aren't moving. It feels like Louisville is working 10 times as hard to get an open shot as Duke is on the other end. It happened so quick. And that turned from a game where I was very invested thinking that we're gonna have a really good shot at being there at the end of the game to, I was texting you with 12 minutes left, like, let's get this thing set up. Let's have a conversation. Let's go. And it was that quick. And I guess what I'm getting to is there's not that Chucky mentality. There's not that Rain Smith mentality, right? We thought Isaac McNeely was going to be that. He just doesn't have the speed. He doesn't have the wherewithal, the basketball. I'm not going to say basketball. I don't think he's a bad player, but Rain Smith knew Pat Kelsey's system at a different level than anybody else did, and he knew how to get open. He got open a lot. A lot of him making shots was him just freeing himself up. And Isaac McNeely doesn't do that. But overall, just the mentality of this team is just not even anywhere close to what it was last year. I feel that there was this just kind of relaxed free flowing, c'est la vie, living in the moment, enjoying every single moment in every game of last year's team that was kind of magical, regardless of the injuries and attrition and everything. This team, when they're healthy, doesn't hold a candle to that, even though they have so much more talent and in theory should be a much better squad. And I think that's kind of, just trying to express what a lot of fans feel. It's just that lack of consistent effort, cohesiveness, and understanding of what the objective is and going out and doing it. And then it's the coaching staff not being able to get the guys to do what they need to do, or simply just not making the adjustments and just trying to do the same damn thing, which is kind of what it looks like. But I'd have to go back and kind of watch the tape from tonight.
Yeah. It's here's another cliche I'll throw at you.
I just left you a dead fish. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I'm just piggybacking off of what you said. I'm trying to take it all in, right? No Diddy. But there another cliche that people throw out a lot. That I don't mind, because I do think it's a thing. Some people think it's not a thing, but like peaking, like a college basketball team, the way they peak in the NIL era, it's a little bit different because like teams are, everybody pretty much runs, like nobody runs like anything crazy. Like I'll use Syracuse again, right? Like nobody really just runs that and is going to go to the title game with that, right? That's not, because the talent will outweigh, on the other. But this team, if you look at, I think like around the Kentucky game, Indiana game, you could look at that and say, like, maybe that team, that's where they peaked, and that's really, really early in the season to peak, or do they have another run in them? And like, again, that's such a cliche, because like, how does that come about? Like, what does that even mean? Like a team's peaking? I just think it's like in the locker room, everybody's like this. It's like we've talked about. Now they talk about was it GBT? They have that in practice, the good basketball talk. So we're still doing that. Like, what does that sound like in practice? Are we all, like, is there? Do you have guys rolling their eyes during, like, or looking away when Pat's talking in practice? Are they, and then looking back, like little shit like that? I feel like Pitino teams didn't do that. Pitino teams, like, if you talk to the former players and hear some of those, like Chris Brinkley, some of those, the interviews that they talk about playing for Pitino. If you talk to Peyton Siva ever about, playing for Pitino, like there was like there's an element of, no, this guy was crazy. No, he's actually like crazy. Like, you did not want to mess up, like right. It wasn't even a fear of messing up. It was like, I have to be like perfect today. If I'm not perfect, he's going to yell at me, and I don't know. I think our coaching staff, and speaking of Peyton Siva, I think we're all in, like, I think there's probably good relationships there. I think there's probably good communication. I want to say it feels like everybody's on the same page. Maybe the injuries threw us off throughout the season, Michael being out. There hasn't been a whole lot of continuity. So that's what I'm going to kind of chalk it up to. If I have to like find an excuse for why it feels like we peaked in December or whenever that was, or why that feels like the Kentucky game was like the high point of the season. So like, I don't think I don't think this game is an indictment on this team. It's just, to me, an indictment on what offense we're going to run, because I don't see any changes coming. What kind of defense, looks we're going to give teams. I don't see any changes. I don't think there's any changes permanently that are coming, or any tweaks. I don't think he's just going to sharpen the same knife, and it might work out in the end. I just don't, like, with the personnel we have. I really hope that. And again, like, I'm chalking it up to I'm going to chalk it up to injuries of why it feels like we've peaked early. And I hope that, I think last year we peaked in January. That was the talk of the town, is that we peaked in January. Namely, like the SMU game on the road, that just felt like that felt like a wave of, I mean, you outcoached Andy Enfield like he was a grade school like gym teacher. You know what I'm saying? I mean, circles around that dude that night, and that's a great coach. It might be a different story this year. But I hope that peak is coming. Obviously you want it to be in March, right? You want everything to start clicking, but let's get everybody healthy. And I'd love to see, just on film or what he says in interviews, just to touch on what we talked about a little while ago, like what the new messaging is going to be, and like what we can do to peak later this year.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to kind of wrap this up, Alan. Is that, you know, I I feel like oftentimes we get on here after a loss. It feels like every time we do a State of Louisville Live, which I think it's because it's all the big games, right? It's the attitude is really negative, and I hate that because if you look now at the state of the program versus this time 2 years ago, right? Like things are much better. Like there's no denying that, and so I hate being that guy because I had to sit here and be that guy for so long after you're having these kind of losses to a directional school, right? There's levels of this, but I think Louisville has to have a come to Jesus moment, and I think it's more in between the ears than it is X's and O's. I think this is a team that's talented enough to still be a second weekend type of team. Like I know that sounds crazy after what we just watched, but it really isn't, right? Like I just think that they have to find a solution for the lack of cohesiveness, right? Because we've seen when it's good, it's great. And everybody's dabbing each other up on the way down the court. We're all celebrating. We're having a great time on the bench. We're all celebrating in the locker room. Everything's awesome. I mean, you just wallop two ACC opponents in a row. You won by 41 and 14, and it was a 14 where you led for 39 and a half minutes, right? So there is a lot of hope and promise with this team. And, you still have Case and Pryor who's still on the mend and trying to come back. And obviously Mikel's going to improve from this and get better than, 1 for 14. But when you have North Carolina around the corner and when you have Clemson and, whatever else would be to come in the ACC tournament, NCAA tournament, even the SMUs of the world, how are you going to step up and be better than what this is? Because this is unacceptable. It's embarrassing. Like somebody said earlier, this is a top 10 program, and our expectation should be that you never lose to any team by 30, regardless of the situation. And I understand that there's anomalies. It's time for bed. I understand there's anomalies, Alan. But this isn't an anomaly, right? I mean, you lost to Virginia by 9, but I mean, let's be honest. Like you were down by a whole lot for the entire game. You never led. And you got beat by 21 in the second half against Duke twice in a row now. You got the doors blown off in the first half against Arkansas. You got blown out from start to finish in Tennessee, right? There's got to be it is incumbent upon the coaching staff now to figure this shit out. And I think it starts with doing unconventional things, doing things that are going to take everyone, including the coaches, out of their comfort zone, and trying to right this ship in a way that is more because of the cohesiveness of the team and less about the individual pieces, right? Because I think this is a team that if they can gel, the parts can be even greater, or the sum can be even greater than the parts. But right now it's not, right? It feels broken and disjointed. When you play anybody that's of a similar level to you, that's not okay. It's not acceptable. It never will be. I think the coaching staff knows and understands that, and they think it needs to be better. And I am with this commenter. I put it up on the screen. We never really got to it, but Jacob talked about it last week as well. Kelsey needs to talk to Walls. He needs an older coach on the team to help him make adjustments. I agree. It's going to be a tough conversation, right? Like, and hopefully the school handles it with great aplomb, with the most care possible, because the last time that we had a situation like this where a coach really needed to go bye, it was difficult in the Chris Mack era. And then of course, Mack got extorted, and then you send old boy off to UConn, and he wins a couple national titles like right after that. Why am I blanking on his name? Anyways, doesn't matter. Luke Murray. God bless.
Luke Murray.
That was brutal.
I do that all the time.
Good pull, Alan. Brutal. I'm looking right at his face in my head, but I couldn't think of his name. Um, no, but I mean, we've seen that not go well. So hopefully, um, the entire coaching staff has an understanding. Okay, you need some fresh blood in here. You probably need somebody that's a former head coach or somebody with tournament experience or somebody that's been a part of a different up and coming program, right? Like it's going to be something different than this because at this point, Pat Kelsey's had the same 3 or 4 people in his ear and in his circle for the last decade now, and something has to change. You have to be able to assess your performance, look yourself in the mirror, and have an understanding that things need to change. Things have to be different than what they are right now, Alan. They have to be categorically different. And I think that starts, if you're the leader of the organization, whether that be Pat Kelsey, Josh Hurd, whoever it is, the decision makers, you got to be able to look yourself in the mirror, have that tough conversation, and figure out how to proceed. But right now, as we're looking to wrap up this season, I think it comes down to mentally between the ears, right? How can you overcome this these abysmal performances against any other quality opponents? It's got to get better, and I'm still optimistic that things will. But the big concern to leave everybody with that I'd be continuing to think about is you can go 6-2, 7-1, 8-0 over the next 8 games, and I'm not sure how much it matters because the true test is going to be when you travel to Chapel Hill in about 4 weeks' time. So that's going to about do it for us, Alan. I know you're probably ready to get in bed. I think my family's long asleep, and Jack's waiting for me to take him outside in the negative 2-degree weather. So everybody, please stay warm. Spend some time doing something that you love tonight or in the morning, and let's get this thing turned around. Send good vibes. I've already put some feelers out to some different Etsy witches to see if we can kind of combat it with different kind of spells and different colored candles and such. And look, if you're not feeling the best, but you can get out and about tomorrow, Main Event is the place to spend a little time and get the vibes right. We've spent a lot of time out there. We'll be back out there pretty soon. But again, my favorite part is the bowling. Like, I'm such a dad. I love to, it's the bowling alley is as far as I understand, dark all the time, which is great, right? Like that nice glow bowl that everybody loves, but also laser tag, elevated food and drink menus, over 100 arcade games. The kids are obsessed, right? Like you can't prime away.
I'm obsessed. I love that place so much. I love places like that where it's like you could be a kid for like an hour or two. Like those of you who indulge, like you just said, like there's, they have drinks. So have a whatever it is that have whatever it is that we're sponsored by now. You have one of those and you go have fun at right.
Yes, that's exactly right.
But it's a blast, dude. I love
Yeah. We're excited to get back out there, and I'm bummed that we didn't spend our evening watching the game live with you guys, but it'll happen here very, very soon. Look, things will get better. I fully believe that. Let's put a bow on this one, move on to the next game, get a big dub on Saturday, and get ready for the next State of Louisville Live. We'll see you guys real soon. Alan Thomas, Press Meyer.
Right.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for joining us in the comment section. We're looking forward to seeing you real soon. Go Cards. Get out.